tornadoes here in central Louisiana, both of those located in Rapides Parish. So zooming in once again, let me turn off the radar so we can get a better view of those warning polygons. You'll notice there, the southern one, or both of them are pink. That both indicates that an observed tornado is on the ground. In this case, we're verifying that through radar, through debris trackers I showed you earlier. So actually, let me step over. This southern tornado warning here are the details on it, only for Rapides Parish now, and that will be running through 9 p.m. this evening. The northern tornado warning is also in effect only for Rapides Parish. This one going a little bit longer until about 9:15. I'm going to step off the screen once again. And I do apologize. It looks like this tornado warning cuts off just short of Alexandria. Maybe it was trimmed out in the most recent update. In fact, I do believe that was trimmed. But again, Timber Trails, Barrett, and if you're in Kingsville, Ball, I would still keep your guard high while we have this tornado confirmed on the ground right now. So similar, actually going to move this over here real quick. We're going to take a look at those the debris tracker scan here over the last few minutes. You'll notice near Boyce we kind of have what appears to be a slowly disorganizing area of debris. So hopefully this means that if there's a tornado on the ground that it's wrapping up, but it's not a guarantee just yet. I'm going to kind of take you back here over the last few minutes and show you how this has evolved. So it looks like this tornado did move a little bit more to the north than northeast for a little bit. But there we go. Whenever we first got on the air for this confirmed tornado, you can see how defined this one centralized, localized area was just to the north of Otis. Now watch as I speed the timeline up just a little bit. Still defined there as it approached Wilda and crossed Louisiana 28 west. And then as it gets towards Hot Wells, again, really defined right here to the east of Wilda, but as it approaches Hot Wells, it starts to fall apart just a little bit, not as defined, not saying that the tornado was fully lifted at that point, but now the scan is looking a little bit better. So hopefully that means that with this tornado, it's about to lift. The latest scan there looking even better, but again, I still want you to treat this as if it's still on the ground because it may very well be. This is something we're going to have to monitor very closely. Even if that tornado is not on the ground, it is still lofting debris right now to the south of Boyce and to the east of Hot Wells. So this is still, again, a very dangerous situation. We'll go take a look at the southern one real quick, which also seems to, there is still a little bit of what we call a correlation coefficient drop. So still seeing debris in this area. But once again, I'm going to back this one up too and show you how defined it was when we were on the air just a few moments ago when this was in Vernon Parish. In fact, I was watching this behind the scenes and thought, this looks like a tornado on the ground. And sure enough, that's why we went on the air shortly thereafter. You'll notice that area right there, that small pocket of debris as it went through or towards Louisiana 463 in Vernon Parish. You can really see how much darker those blues get. That's even higher confidence, especially this close to the radar, that there was debris being lofted by the storm. And then fast forwarding that timeline, it still maintained some of that structure as it approached the Vernon Rapides Parish line. But once it seemed to cross over, there's still definitely debris there, maybe a weak tornado on the ground at that point. But look at it now. It's not as defined, but there is still some debris in the air. So I do urge you again, stay in your shelter. If you haven't moved to your shelter, still move to your shelter and stay there if you're already there. One thing I notice is the reflectivity, still seeing a little bit of a hooking pattern there on our first alert radar. So the threat, again, for tornadoes still there, and that warning is still active. Let's take a look right now at velocity. And what it's showing right now, let me see if I can't get a better view. Looks like we may have to watch this area here near Louisiana 112. That might try to tighten up there. The rest of what I was saying just a second ago was pretty broad. Make sure that there's nothing there. That's actually, we very well could still have a weak tornado on the ground since that area of tighter rotation is still lining up with this CC drop, as we call it in the meteorological world, or in other words, where that debris is still showing that it's being lofted. So right now, I still think there is at least a chance that we've got a tornado still on the ground to the south of Hineston and to the west there of Calcasieu. We'll go ahead and take a quick look at things back to the north. With that northern warning, I know that's heading towards some of our more populated areas in town or just outside of town. The good news here is with this area of rotation south of Boise, it is very, very weak, and I have a feeling that confirmed tornado is also not going to look as impressive. So we still might have some debris there in the air along Louisiana 1200, just south of Boise, but this area continues to look more and more disorganized. So if you're under that tornado warning still for the northern part of the parish, I'll bring that up for you. Read off some town names real quick. That's going to include Boise, Alfalfa, Hot Wells, Rapides, and kind of continue there along Louisiana 1 all the way to Air Base Road along I-49 and the community of Barrett. Stay in your shelter for now, but things are trending hopeful. Once the all clear is there for this area, I will give it. I'm going to be watching this area very closely in case it tries to spin back up. However, right now, I think the biggest concern is going to be that southern area, which the rotation and the debris tracker isn't showing as defined of a signal as it was just a few moments ago, but it is still there. And again, anyone along Louisiana 112 in Rapides Parish, this is going to be a lot of rural areas, but if you're north of Forest Hill and you're near the community of Woodworth, now is the time to be in your tornado shelter. It's just a few moments ago, we certainly had a confirmed tornado on the ground, and that tornado could very well still be on the ground right now. Again, the area that I'm watching right now, the area of highest concern in Rapides Parish, is going to be located near Calcasieu, just south of Hineston. This is near Booster Wright Road, near Potato Farm Road, near the community of Melder. Even if we don't have a tornado on the ground at this moment, and again, I think there's a chance we do, the winds are still very, very strong, especially blowing to the east. I'm going to sample those winds here just a second and see just how strong those are. But again, rotation definitely looking very interesting in that area. The correlation coefficient drop not as defined as it was earlier in this area, but it is still enough cause for concern. We've still got that warning out. If you're near Hineston, near Calcasieu, near Melder, near Louisiana 112, Boyd Road, Booster Wright Road, get in that shelter if you're not there already, and please stay in that shelter. Latest radar scan here for debris tracker showing things not very consistent and organized here. That's something that we like to see, but again, we've got to give this a few more scans. We've got to watch it. I'm going to be here with you through this until the threat has passed. But right now, if you're under any tornado warning, now is the time to go ahead and be in that shelter. Taking you back to velocity, though, I think that's going to give us a better idea of what's going on across the parish. Again, right here where you see these reds and greens coming together, south of Louisiana 112, or I guess along it, south of Hineston to the west of Calcasieu. This right here is the area of greatest concern. I do think maybe that northern tornado warning was just allowed to drop, but let me go ahead and verify that real quick. It does appear that that's the case. So I will say this, with how things are trending, with how this storm could cycle back up, even the southern one, Alexandria, Pineville, Ball, I wouldn't say you're out of the woods yet. You're not under a warning at the moment, but depending on how this southern storm tracks, it's time to stay on guard and be prepared to move back to your shelter. For those of you, though, near Boise and kind of that northern part of Rapides Parish that was under that warning a moment ago, you're no longer under that northern warning. Again, the Weather Service here kind of saying what I was saying a moment ago. No more confirmed tornado on the ground. That area of rotation just no longer there. But where you see this pink box, the rotation very much is still there. Looks like we got another warning out just issued by the National Weather Service. So, again, this comes up pretty close to Alexandria. In fact, this includes portions of Jackson Street. So this actually does come into Alexandria a little bit. It does not quite reach Texas Avenue. Here's Texas right here. It's moving this way, and then eventually it takes kind of that northern turn and runs parallel with MacArthur. Texas Avenue, you're not included in this right now. Anywhere south of Texas Avenue, you need to be in that tornado-safe place now. Louisiana 28 West, you're back under this, near Coliseum Boulevard, near Cloverleaf, Ball Lane, Woodwind Drive. They've issued this warning again for another confirmed tornado. So let me go ahead, let's switch things back over to debris tracker and pinpoint that area that they're talking about here real quick. And it looks like we might also have some damage reports this would coming out of the DeRidder Fire Department. There was some tree damage, and it looks like a shed was damaged earlier this evening. Let me pull some details real quick. Radar confirmed tornado. Right now they're looking at it over Hineston. So this was the original area that I was watching just a little bit ago. So while the signature doesn't look as defined here on The debris tracker, things are looking interesting enough that they're going to keep that tornado warning and keep it observed. So right now, based on what I'm saying, I'm really watching these areas pretty closely near Heinz, this is kind of a broader area for now. Let me back this up just a little bit and see, because I know just a moment ago we had some tighter rotation. I think this right here is the general area that they're talking about. And again, we've got a new tornado warning out now, again, for portions of Rapides Parish. So the good news with this, at least what I'm saying so far, is that maybe this area of rotation is starting to broaden out, but it could be recycling again. I think that's probably why they went ahead and reissued that warning. Also, when it was issued, that rotation was a lot tighter. And we could also, I mean, we've got some brighter colors here indicating stronger winds blowing towards the Fort Johnson radar or back towards the west and southwest. It wouldn't surprise me to see another area spin up here. So again, still talking about a pretty dangerous situation here for Rapides Parish. And we're going to stay on the air with you and on Facebook and on KALB.com until this threat is gone. So Melder, Hineston, Calcasieu, you are under this tornado warning still. That's going to be areas along Louisiana Highway 488. It also includes Potato Farm Road. So let me go ahead and back this out again. So it looks like this new warning may be replacing the previous warning that was in effect. That looks like that's what's happening. So again, new areas under the warning include, and I apologize if I messed some of these up, but Whale, Rapides, and again, this doesn't include Hot Wells and Wilda, but it does include Louisiana Highway 28 West, basically from Coliseum Boulevard. Let me zoom that in. So yes, basically areas along Coliseum Boulevard, or I guess that is 28 West. See if I can get another major road name in. So anywhere from Windermere Boulevard all the way west of McNutt. So in between McNutt and Hemp Hill there along 28 West, this includes Gardner. You're under that new tornado warning. So this does include portions of town in Alexandria. Again, if you are to the southwest of Texas Avenue. So basically with how Texas Avenue runs, it initially runs northwest and then kind of runs parallel with MacArthur. So if you're near Kroger or you're further towards the Coliseum Boulevard area, now's the time to go ahead and be in your tornado safe place. We're still watching the potential. While thankfully, I don't think there's a tornado on the ground at this moment. We could see one spin back up. And again, just moments ago, we were tracking not one, but two confirmed tornadoes on the ground here in Rapides Parish. Let me go ahead and pull that velocity back up. And again, I think we could be saying rotation tightening up. At the very least, we're seeing those winds picking up there along Louisiana 488 right near Booster Wright Road. This is coming up on Melder and potentially Castor Plunge. So let me switch over to relative velocity. This might give us a better view. And again, relative velocity here showing maybe things not being quite as broad. So we're watching this whole area very, very closely. And let's see. So now this storm is moving pretty slowly off to the northeast at about 25 miles per hour. So let's get a new track on this area. Okay, and there are those estimated times of arrival for you right there. So we've got about 14 minutes, a little bit less than that probably before it gets to Castor Plunge. To be on the safe side, I'd say 10 minutes. About 30 to 35 minutes for Annandale, a little under 45 minutes there for Alexandria. And then if this were to continue or cycle back up, you've got about 45 minutes before it arrives in Pineville and 54 before it arrives in Paradise. So again, right now our biggest concern is this tornado-warned storm that may not have a tornado on the ground at this very moment, but was producing a tornado not too long ago, and it is approaching kind of the Woodworth and Alexandria area. This may stay just to the north of Woodworth, but again, watching this a little closer as it approaches Alexandria, and definitely paying close attention to how this storm evolves. We've seen it produce a tornado very quickly. We've seen that threat kind of ramp down a little. Now, we saw it ramp back up, and now maybe it's winding back down, but it still definitely shows some signs here, at least with reflectivity, of rotation. And I think while that rotation is a little broader for now, it certainly has the potential to tighten back up here very shortly. This is the one warning that we're watching right now in central Louisiana. It is the only tornado warning that we have. We have no severe thunderstorm warnings active at the moment. While we wait on a new update, let me go ahead and back things up and we'll take a look at these storms across the region. So as Futurecast kind of depicted a little earlier this evening, we're getting close to the 9-10 o'clock hour, and we're starting to see this line break off into chunks. I was watching behind the scenes this section of the line and Wind Parish a little earlier this evening. It showed some signs of weak rotation, but not a very well-defined area of rotation, certainly not enough to warrant a warning of any kind. Let me go and pause things here. Not seeing a ton when it comes to things in our area, I think, which is good news. So yes, not seeing much that we should be concerned with that northern part of the line. Now I'm going to evaluate the southern end of that line real quick just to make sure, I'm not missing anything as these storms move through. And, the Lake Charles area, things starting to look interesting there for sure, but that's just outside of our viewing area, so not a big concern. But if you do have friends and family in that area, our friends over at KPLC will have them covered if there's any severe weather in that area. So right now, again, primarily we're looking at this one area of rotation right now, kind of broad, but could tighten back up at any moment. Definitely have some pretty high winds in there. This is just to the west of Interstate 49. This is west of LeCount right now, northwest of Glenmora, and this is kind of tracking towards Alexandria right now. We did just get a new update in from the Weather Service, so bear with me. I'm going to read through this real quick. And okay, so the Weather Service is continuing that tornado warning. They're still seeing a pretty well-defined area of rotation, still moving about the same speed. I'm going to bounce back over to our Weather Service chat for just a moment. And again, that area of rotation right now is just to the northwest of Woodworth, and I'm trying to see if this is the best mode to show this on. So we're going to keep it like this for now. Again, area of rotation right now coming up on Louisiana 488 and will eventually track towards Alexandria. So it's been just a minute since I've shown you the warning box, so let me show you that real quick. I'm going to turn off the radar. Again, that pink warning means that there is a tornado warning, and we have confirmed tornado on the ground. We may not have one at this very moment, but we did have one just a few minutes ago when we broke in initially. So that tornado warning covers areas, and I'm going to zoom this in a little bit more. This tornado warning includes Otis, Hineston, Castor Plunge, Melder, Cloverdale, Cooley, Inglewood, McNutt, Whale, and Rapides. This also, while the label may be up here, this does include portions of Alexandria. If you are to the southwest of Texas Drive, I need you in your safe place right now. In other words, if you get in your car and you go from downtown down Jackson, if you are past Texas Avenue towards Kroger, towards Subway, towards all that stuff down there, towards Coliseum Boulevard, I'm trying to think of the road name, but it's in Versailles. If you're near Versailles, anywhere out that way, now's the time to be in your tornado safe place. And as I mentioned a moment ago, even if you're not in the warning in Alexandria or Pineville, stay weather aware. Now is the time to certainly be doing that, as we do have some pretty dangerous weather out there, specifically in Rapides Parish. One thing I am noticing here right now with First Alert radar, and this is a good sign, but not a definitive sign for sure. I'm going to back things up on the radar here over the last 30 minutes or so. You'll notice here, Vernon Parish, about the time we saw that tornado touch down, you see here on First Alert radar kind of a hooking feature when it comes to that heavy rain, indicating that possible tornado, what ended up being a confirmed tornado on the ground. You can still even see that feature a little bit as it moved to the east of Afeman and to the south of Hineston. But right now, how things stand, that feature is a little bit harder to see. Even here at 854, you can still see at least a slight hooking feature there to the radar. And now, while it very well could be back at any moment, and this isn't the only telltale sign of rotation, that signature is not as defined right now on First Alert radar. So that is good news, but that doesn't mean that we're out of the woods just yet. We've still got that warning. We've still got some decent rotation here northwest of Woodworth along Louisiana 488. Again, this is coming up on Castor Plunge. This is coming up on Cloverdale. So these are the areas that I'm watching here pretty closely. You can see this a little bit better. Where we've got the reds blowing away from Fort Johnson, we've got all of these greens or winds blowing toward the Fort Johnson radar. This is where we've got the rotation. It's coming up on Castor Plunge and Louisiana 488. So if you're not in your shelter already, now is the time to be there, Castor Plunge. Same if you are in Woodworth, even though I think this will miss you just to the north, it's still too close for comfort. You need to be in that tornado shelter now. Cooley, you need to be in your tornado shelter, and also Cloverdale, now is the time to be in your tornado shelter as well. I'm checking my phone real quick for any updates right now, and I'm not seeing any from the National Weather Service at this time, but still, again, keeping a very close tabs on this situation. We still have enough rotation here to warrant that tornado warning. The Weather Service keeping that observed tag. We've seen a confirmed tornado out of this storm already. We could very well see this rotation tighten back up and get another tornado out of it at any moment. The good news is debris tracker right now, I mean, definitely going to watch this area a little bit, but it's not very defined. It's not that pocket of debris like what we saw just a few moments ago. In fact, let me zoom this back out, and if you're just now joining, I can actually show you what a confirmed tornado kind of looks like, a definitive confirmed tornado here on the radar. So backing this up for you, we're going to take this all the way back into Vernon Parish. Again, this radar image is not valid. This was about 30 minutes ago, around 8:40. You see here how we have this very concentrated pocket of brighter colors, those yellow and green colors, and even those darker blues. That indicates debris here on our scale. This was almost 100% a tornado on the ground as the storm approached the Vernon Rapides Parish line. Now, whenever we take a look at that same area here in Rapides Parish as it comes near Castor Plunge, again, just because of the positioning of this with the rotation, I'm still watching this very closely, but it's not as defined and concentrated of a pocket as what I showed you from just about 30 minutes ago. So we're still, again, I'm still here watching the storm very closely. If you're under that warning, you need to take shelter. I will give you the all clear. I'm going to stay here with you until this warning is allowed to expire. And now it does include Alexandria, at least portions of, again, areas along and to the southwest of Texas Avenue. So not towards downtown, but if you're going down Jackson Street and you pass Texas Avenue, if you're going out toward Kroger, if you're going out toward Windermere, Versailles, Coliseum Boulevard, that is the area of town that needs to be in their tornado shelter right now. While we wait on another update, I'm going to walk you through some of the other information that we have. First and foremost, we've got a tornado watch in effect for the parishes you see here shaded in yellow that runs through 2 a.m. Now, parishes that are done with the bulk of the rain activity, like I could see Vernon being dropped from this soon, Natchitoches, those parishes will slowly start to be dropped as your threat winds down for the night. Haven't heard anything about an expansion of this watch. The overall thinking is that the overall general severe threat will continue to kind of dissipate as time goes on and these storms move to the east, but it's a little too close to call just yet. I do also want to talk about, we're talking about tornado warnings, tornado watches. What's the difference between the two? Well, a tornado watch, which is what I just showed you that covered that large area, means we've got the conditions in our atmosphere that are needed for tornadoes. That means that tornadoes could form anywhere from within a few minutes to a few hours as storms approach, so you've got to review that tornado plan and be prepared to act. Tornado warning, though, this is what we're seeing in Rapides Parish, means that either strong enough rotation has been detected on radar or a tornado has been spotted or confirmed and that you need to seek shelter immediately. That's the kind of situation we're dealing here right now in Rapides Parish. So real quick, as far as places to take shelter from a tornado, there are several good spots to go in your home. One of those would be an interior stairwell, maybe an interior hallway or closet. Maybe you don't have a good interior room away from windows. Maybe your bathroom's on an exterior wall but is windowless. This isn't a bad spot to take shelter, as bathrooms usually have that extra lining in the walls of piping that help reinforce that structure a little bit more, which is what makes it an okay structure to take shelter in. Just kind of glancing through things Again, with our latest updates from the Weather Service, not seeing much at this time. Looks like we might actually get one from them at any moment. So here's a look right now at what's going on overall. Sabine Parish, Natchitoches Parish, I'd say your threat for tonight is over. Vernon Parish, that's going to be winding down shortly. Beauregard Parish, your threat is low, but not quite zero just yet. Let's get this rain out of the parish, and then you will be clear from the severe threat for tonight. Again, right now, the primary area of concern is right here in Rapides Parish, approaching Alexandria, and the threat for severe weather is not zero for areas to the east of this line just yet. I do anticipate, again, as time goes on and these storms move east, I anticipate the threat to be lower, but not quite zero until these storms have completely cleared the area. Again, right now, though, what we're dealing with in Rapides Parish is the most serious of the storms. This is where we had a confirmed tornado just a moment ago, and when we first joined you, we were tracking not one, but 2 tornadoes on the ground within the parish. So let me go back to first alert radar. Let's zoom back into this storm. Again, one thing I don't like that I'm seeing here on first alert radar is that kind of hook feature is a little more defined right now on first alert radar. Let's go over to velocity and see if it is showing the same thing. And I apologize, kind of going back and forth here between updates from the Weather Service and seeing what's new there. Let's go back to relative velocity. That'll give us a better view. So even if we do not have a tornado on the ground right now, this area of rotation is kind of near Castor Plunge. It's moving towards the Annandale area, and even if we don't have a tornado on the ground, we could still be dealing with some pretty gusty winds as this moves into Alexandria. So this storm right now, let me get a read on that latest update, 25 miles an hour. We'll go ahead and put a track on that. Kind of get you an ETA of what time it could reach portions of town. So at least the gustiest of the winds, maybe even that rotation, starting to take a little bit more of a northerly turn as far as that movement goes. So the Annandale area, you've got about 13 minutes. I still want you in your shelter now. Alexandria, again, the only parts of Alexandria under the tornado warning at this time are near and southwest of Texas Avenue. So again, that's going to be kind of areas near Kroger, near Versailles. Those are the areas that, again, are under that tornado warning at this time. So any of the ETAs that you see beyond this right now, I'm not confident that the storm is going to hold by that point. But again, if you're along or southwest of Texas Avenue, now's the time to be in a shelter. And I would imagine that we are going to hear from the Weather Service on this warning here at any moment. I'm going to ask them about that right now, actually. Okay, so my apologies there. I'm also going to grab a drink of water real quick. Okay, so again, still tracking that threat for a possible tornado as this approaches Alexandria. One thing I like that I'm saying right now is even though we've got some strong winds potentially with this, I do like that I'm saying not a super tight area of rotation, but with the way that this is still looking, it definitely has the structure where I could see rotation tightening back up at any moment. So that's probably why we still have that warning. And again, still watching this very, very closely as it nears Alexandria right now. Still kind of waiting on an update. It's the National Weather Service that issues these warnings and also provides us with their insight as well. That's one great thing. We're all a big family. They help to keep you safe by issuing these warnings. We also evaluate these things with our own meteorological knowledge, and we both communicate back and forth to kind of make sure we're on the same page here. They have access to a lot more high-tech tools sometimes behind the scenes and can get a better in-depth analysis on the spot compared to what we can do on TV sometimes. So again, still looking at that kind of broader area of rotation right now near Castor Plunge, and this is going to kind of keep moving towards the Texas Avenue, Samtown area along Interstate 49. So let me go ahead. I'm going to call out some street names here. Again, within this warning, while we may not have a tornado on the ground with this, again, certainly it looks like they have dropped that observed tag as of the latest update, which is great news, but still watching this closely. If you live anywhere, again, southwest of Texas Avenue, if you're near Coliseum Boulevard, this does include MacArthur. In fact, I know the big traffic circle is up here somewhere. Might have to zoom in a little further for that. So here's the traffic circle. Basically, along the traffic circle, if you are to the southwest, trying to think of the best way to word this. So if you are along the Highway 165 area, I believe that's Highway 165 South, that turnoff of the traffic circle, if you are along there, you need to take shelter. If you are on the Masonic Drive side of that traffic circle, right now you don't need to take shelter, but still remain alert, as we could see downstream warnings issued. So it looks like that warning was just updated. Again, to drop that observed tag, that's why we've seen this warning go back to red. Our system, when we don't have a confirmed tornado, shows these as red. When we have a confirmed tornado, shows them as that kind of that pink color that you were seeing a moment ago. So I see somebody from the National Weather Service is typing, so we should have an update there in just a moment. Again, a few more street names in the warning that should still be in their safe place till this threat is over include Ball Lane, Benjamin Street, Skylark Drive. Again, if you're on Coliseum Boulevard 28 West in Alexandria, you need to be in your tornado safe place. If you're kind of in the Versailles area, near Rotolo's, kind of near the Why Not Stop, you still need to be in your shelter as well. And areas to the southwest, again, back toward the Annandale area, the Inglewood area, and Cloverdale, at least for the next few minutes. Looks like now we've got a flash flood warning in effect for the parish. We'll talk a little bit more about that here in just a second. So right now, the Weather Service is monitoring this area very closely, and they're determining whether or not a new warning will be issued. Again, still saying right now, at least on our end, that, again, the threat for a tornado is still there. That's why we're still on the air. We're still watching things with you. I'm not, at least as of this radar scan, I don't think we have a tornado on the ground. It doesn't look like a tornado is imminent, but definitely we've got some gusty winds moving into Alexandria right now as we speak. And actually, I kind of take that back. This latest radar scan here, while it's not the tightest, does look a little tighter on this version of velocity compared to the storm relative velocity I had pulled up just a moment ago. So that's pretty close there to 488. This is kind of close to Jackson Street. So again, not super sold that we have something on the ground, but it should be treated as if there's something on the ground. I mean, these radar scans only update every few minutes, and a lot can change in those few minutes. We can see a storm completely fall apart. We can see a storm strengthen up real fast, see that rotation tighten up, and see a tornado on the ground. So again, for the next few minutes, want to stay in that tornado safe place. Right now, the Weather Service is evaluating. Looks like the cell may be trying to recycle on the northeast side. So we are going to have another tornado warning for Rapides Parish issued here momentarily. That is per the National Weather Service. Looks like that warning might have just gone out. Let me see if it pops up in the system. There we go. New tornado warning includes all of Alexandria, all of Ball, Pineville, goes out to DeVille, and I apologize in advance, because all of the devices in this room are probably about to go off and not all at once. So again, new tornado warning right now. Let's see what time that runs through. 9:45 this evening is when we have this new tornado warning. So again, sorry about that. Those devices do not turn off one button, unfortunately. But again, Ball, Alexandria, Pineville, DeVille, now's the time to be in your shelter. Louisiana 28 West in Alexandria, 28 East, all the way out through Holloway to the Rapides, I believe that is Avoyelles Parish line, or my apologies, Rapides-LaSalle Parish line. Now is the time to be in that tornado safe place. Let's go ahead and take a quick look here at the radar once again. Again, the Weather Service reissuing that warning as the storm may be recycling on the northeast side. So again, still kind of watching that area of rotation as I mentioned just a moment ago. We could see this area tighten up once more. That's why that tornado warning is extended. So if you're just now joining me or you've been with me for a while, initially that warning was only for Texas Avenue and areas to the southwest. Now it includes all of Alexandria, all of Pineville, all of Ball, northern Rapides Parish, 28 West. Let me actually go back to this real quick. Again, 28 West from, let's see if we can't get a town name in there, near Kisatchie Hills Road. This is probably near the Kisatchie Forest, just to the east of Gardner. So again, Louisiana 28 West from east of Gardner all the way out to the Rapides-LaSalle Parish line. You are now under a tornado warning through 9:45 this evening. And again, that includes more of our populated areas, including Ball, Kingsville, Alexandria, Pineville, the Wardville area, the Shady Oaks area. Now is the time to be in that tornado safe place. I'm going to kind of take a look at things. I might need to actually bounce back to another program that I use that I can only view here on my laptop. So give me one moment. And I definitely do see where, at least on first alert radar, which I'll switch us back to, starting to definitely see that kind of hooking signature try to cycle back up. As I showed you a moment ago, we've kind of seen it fall apart and then be a little more defined. You can kind of see where that heavy rain is making that subtle hook. Again, that's where we have that area of rotation, and it is approaching the Alexandria area right now. So now's the time to go and move to that safe place. I know a lot of you probably don't have a TV in that tornado safe place. We're streaming live right now to Facebook. We're streaming live right now to KALB.com or on the KALB News app, and we are going to stay with you until this tornado warning and any tornado warning in Cenla is allowed to expire this evening. So again, right now, thankfully, we don't have confirmation of a tornado on the ground, but as the storm cycles back up, we could very well see one back on the ground. We've already seen one tornado, one confirmed tornado at least, on the ground from this storm. So it's one to take seriously. And again, we're staying with you till this threat is over. And again, for those of you that need to move to that safe place, can't take the TV with you, we're live on Facebook, we're live on KALB.com right now and on the KALB News app, tracking this tornado or this tornado-warned storm as it moves into some of our more populated areas here in central Louisiana. Lights kind of flickered a little bit on us here at the station. Thankfully, not seeing much with debris tracker. Let me go ahead. I'm also going to try an alternate program here and see if I can't get more points of interest in here. I know we've got the street names, but I also want to give some points of reference in here as well. So I'm going to kind of zoom things in. I know y'all cannot see it on my end, and I do apologize. I wish there was a way for me to pull these up on our end. This is going to be moving pretty close to that area of rotation right now. It's near Ainsley Boulevard, as you can see here. You can also see Broadway Avenue on the screen. This is going to be cutting it pretty close to St. Francis Cabrini. This area right now, though, is just a little bit to the north of the big traffic circle. It's really right in between where 28 West intersects with 71/165. It's in between that intersection and the big traffic circle just to the south. So again, I'm keeping a very close eye on this right now. We definitely have some areas of maybe some stronger winds just to the south of that too. It looks like I just got a new radar scan on here. And again, we could see this rotation start to tighten back up and this storm recycle. So this is a pretty serious situation right now ongoing for portions of the area, including mainly for Rapides Parish. That's where we've got the highest threat right now. So definitely still seeing some strong winds with this. I'm going to switch things back over to first alert radar. And again, while not as defined, I don't think, even as it was a moment ago, definitely still showing signs, again, as the storm cycles, kind of the areas of rotation could change. We'll see one area of rotation kind of fall apart and another one start to develop, generally as this is a very large circle. This is not exactly where the whole area of rotation is, but this general area is the one that I'm watching the closest. And right now, the spots I'm watching the closest are the ones I mentioned in between the intersection of 28 West and Highway 71 and the traffic circle. So really kind of right here where we've got these brighter winds coming up on Samtown now. It looks like maybe this is trying to, again, still cycle. Kind of near Inglewood and Cloverdale. So maybe now this will move a little to the west. Looks like we have a new tornado warning out, or I apologize, continued tornado warning, just an update to the existing one. So I'm going to go ahead and check the info on that real quick, make sure we're still tracking this storm out at the right speed. But once again, Rapides Parish, this is going all the way out out to the Rapides, LaSalle Parish line. This warning includes DeVille, Ball, Alexandria, Pineville. You need to be in your shelter right now. So this storm is now starting to pick up speed as well. It is now moving a lot quicker at about 45 miles an hour. So let's switch this back. Go ahead and take a wider view of this. And bear with me for just a moment. We're going to go with the northernmost part of this for now. And I do apologize here. It's not so great being red-green colorblind whenever this is what the radar is, but full disclaimer, I can see very bright reds and greens. What we're saying right now is, again, this area of rotation pretty much right on top of Alexandria, maybe 5 minutes or so for the Pineville area. Hopefully in about 10 minutes at the most, we can start to clear those areas as far as severe weather is concerned. Then as we get a little closer to that parish line, LaSalle, Rapides, as I was talking about, near DeVille, if this holds together, we're looking at about 25 minutes. This has held on together for a little while now, maybe not producing a tornado on the ground the whole way, but the structure of it and the rotation has been strong enough for long enough. I do think it has a pretty solid chance of making it all the way to the parish line. So watching this right now, again, Rapides Parish is the only tornado warning that we have right now. Looks like the southern tornado warning was just allowed to expire, so we should only have one on the map. I'll stop the radar. Let's take this radar off, give you an update on who is now under that warning. So again, 28 west. If you are along 28 west to the east of Louisiana 3054, you're under that tornado warning. And again, all of Alexandria, all of Pineville, all of Ball, go a little further south, all of Annandale and Inglewood, you are under the tornado warning right now. This one runs through 9:45. And again, this also includes Holloway and Barron, all the way out to the parish line. We also have a flash flood warning out right now. I would stay off the roads. We've got the tornado warning. That is the biggest concern right now. Nobody should be on the roads right now, but once this warning is allowed to expire, it would not hurt to stay indoors if you can for the rest of the night. Stay off the roads, as we do have enough heavy rainfall in the area that localized flooding has started to occur, at least over portions of Rapides Parish. So again, still kind of watching a broader area on the south side of Alexandria near Samtown, coming up on Interstate 49 right now, just to the south of Texas Avenue, and this is going to continue moving toward Wardville and Shady Oaks here within the next few minutes. So I'm just kind of evaluating things on radar here real quick, and I'll check for another update from the National Weather Service. Good news, I'm not seeing anything that is super defined here on Debris Tracker. I mean, maybe a potential area to watch, but I'm actually going to have to see how that lines up with everything here. That area that I was watching, it's not, looking at it through another lens, it's not a very large area. I don't believe we have a tornado on the ground here, but it is definitely something to watch. And we do more than likely have some pretty gusty winds blowing right now, in addition to that heavy rainfall. Here at the station, it's coming down pretty hard right now. Let me switch things back over to First Alert Radar real quick. And again, maybe seeing things try to fizzle out here, hopefully. Kind of looking at another area, kind of looking down, especially this cluster here in Rapides Parish. Anything that has an interesting structure to it, I'm definitely looking at. Another area here west of Woodworth, it doesn't have the most defined structure I've ever seen by any means, but was certainly one that caught my eye. The good news is I don't see strong rotation with this, but with how quickly those last two tornadoes kind of spun up, I'm going to be watching this over the next few minutes also. It could be very well as this part of the storm that's moving through our more populated areas in Rapides Parish starts to kind of fizzle out. We could see the potential for that southwestern area I just pointed out to kind of ramp up and gain some strength. So still watching these areas very closely. Let's go ahead and take a look at things down the line real quick while we wait on another radar scan. Let's switch to the Lake Charles radar. for the storms we've got going on right now down in Beauregard and right on the Allen Parish line. I do want to look here and see. It looks like maybe we got another tornado warning update. We'll have to wait just a second for that to load in, and then